Welcome to our few moments together on the Parsha. This Shabbos we have the privilege of reading Parshas Vayetze. Yaakov goes, as he was commanded by his father and mother, to the place of Lavan, Aroma, to find a wife. Ultimately, as we know, he marries first Leah, then he marries Rachel, and Leah has three children right away: Ruvain, Shimon, and Levi. Ruvain is called Ruvain because Re'u ma bein beni ubein chami. Look, see the difference between my son and my father-in-law's son. As Leah said, see the difference between my son Ruvain, who ultimately gave up the Bechor and did not take umbrage about it, as Esav did. And when Shimon was born, Leah said, Ki shama Hashem, Hashem heard my pain and granted me a son. And when Levi was born, Leah said, Hapa'am yilaveh ishi elai, now my husband will be joined to me. So Reuven, Shimon, and Levi are named, and then Yehuda is born, and she says, Hapa'am ode es Hashem. This time, I will give thanks to Hashem. And so she called his name Yehuda. And of course, the Jewish people are called Yehudi, because what we do is we give thanks. And Leah gave thanks because of the birth of Yehuda, her fourth son. Rashi, of course, deals with the fact that she didn't thank Hashem for the first, second, and third, but she did thank for the fourth, and he explains because through prophecy they understood, Leah and Rachel and the other wives understood that if there are four wives and they have an equal number of children and there are 12 Shvatim, each would have three. If Leah was given four, she was already granted above and beyond what was supposed to be in theory. And consequently, she says, Hapam Ode Es Hashem. The Meshech Chochmah and others pursue this line of reasoning of, isn't it strange that Yaakov didn't say thank you immediately? Don't you really feel a tremendous sense of gratitude and say thanks? And why only by Yehuda is it that she called his name Yehuda and said thank you? So the Meshech Chochmah explains that there are a number of different senses that we have. We have a sense of touch. We have a sense of sight. And we have a sense of smell. Different senses that we have. And when it comes to Reuven, so he was called Re'uma bein beni leben chami, that's a sense of sight. Interesting, the Gemara in Brachas on Daf Mem Gimel has a discussion about when you see a beautiful thing, there's no specific bracha to say on seeing something beautiful. Yes, there are brachas about seeing certain parts of the world, but if someone sees a beautiful thing, he thinks a flower is beautiful and so on, when he sees it, there's no special bracha on seeing that. When it comes to hearing a beautiful thing, you hear a beautiful piece of music or a voice of a beautiful chazan, like we've had the privilege of hearing so often from our wonderful chazan Ben Zion Miller, Zol Zayin Gesund, that we don't make a bracha on hearing a beautiful sound. There's no specific bracha on hearing a beautiful sound. There are brachas about hearing certain sounds, but if you hear a beautiful sound, you don't necessarily say a bracha. You hear a beautiful piece of music, you don't necessarily say a bracha. On the sound of the shofar, perhaps you do, but otherwise you don't say a bracha on sound. And when Shimon was born, she said, Ki shama Hashem, Hashem has heard my plight. and so she called him Shimon. So Reuven was called because of sight. Shimon was called so because of hearing. And Levi, she said, Apam yilaveh ishi elai. Now my husband will be joined to me. And as the Metzuda and Rashi explains, this means that there will be a sense of closeness together, of touch. And on touch also, there is no special bracha of thank you. But when it comes to smell, there is a bracha. We do have a bracha on reach. It's amazing. If you smell besamim, you make a bracha. You smell a flower, you say a bracha. When there is a sense of olfactory excitement, we do have a bracha on that. And that's why when it comes to a sense of smell, there is a bracha, as the Gemara in Brachas Hamem Gimel points out. And the Meshech Chochmah says, if you take a look in Yeshayahu, in Perek Yud Aleph, at the beginning of the Perek, it tells us that Yehuda is going to be the forerunner of the Mashiach, and the Mashiach comes, v'haricho b'yiras Hashem. He will give off the olfactory sense, the smell of God-fearing quality in yiras Hashem. And that sense of smell, the yira, is going to bring about that the Mashiach is going to be able to come. So therefore, when Yehuda was born, and he is the one who has this unique sense of giving off a sense of smell, and we make a bracha on Birchas Hareach, therefore, she said, Hapam Oda es Hashem. This time, I'm going to thank Hashem, because there's a specific bracha due to the giving off of a reach. We have a general sense of using the word smell when a situation doesn't seem right. We say, oh, this situation smells bad. There's something wrong with this. There's the whole thing gives off a bad odor. I'm not pleased about it. But when something happens wonderful, it has a wonderful reach, and we make a bracha on it. So Leah is letting us know, and Yaakov and Leah are letting us know, that the forerunner of the tribe of Yehuda was so called because he was going to be the one that brings the Mashiach, and the Mashiach is going to have this blessing of giving off a good smell. The Metzuda points out that when it says V'harichu b'reach Hashem, what it means is that there'll be yiras shamayim. When the nation will have a sense of yiras shamayim, that will be the forerunner and the bringer of the Mashiach. And that's why we have to give thanks to Hashem on the fact that we hope that whatever reach comes out of the current conflict that Klal Yisrael is involved with will ultimately bring about that Mashiach does come, and that we will smell and sense and make a bracha over the coming of this Mashiach, and that it will be only good for Klal Yisrael. And so in this week's Hedger in Parshas Vayetze, we have the forerunner of the Mashiach, the blessing of a good smell, because Hapam Oda es Hashem, and we Yehudim, us Jews, have to keep in mind that what brings about the coming of the Mashiach is the sense of thankfulness for the bracha of our olfactory senses. And it's the first one that we are assaulted with or blessed with when we have a good sense of something coming up. We'd like to take the opportunity to wish everyone a wonderful Shabbat Shalom and Varach. Let's think about the Reach Hashem, which means a sense, as we've learned, a sense of God-fearing quality, of giving off an aroma. Every one of us comes close to another Jew, and we have the aroma of good deeds, of love of Hashem, of kindness, of fear of Hashem, and that will bring about, the Yiras Shamayim will bring about the coming of the Mashiach, B'mheira V'yameinu. I'd like to take this opportunity to wish everyone a Shabbat Shalom Umevarach.